All right. We are doing it. Learning to code on a Monday. We were thinking about some intense, weird stuff going on in the world. But I kind of wanted to, if you found yourself on kind of a thought spiral, um, and or if you're working on anything, personal code projects, uh feel free to have this moment to share what you're working on, as it applies to the tech of everything. If you came up with a note from the edge that is code centric, feel free to mic up and share. Keep in mind that we are streaming to the YouTube, so random people may see it, but they're cool. Mostly. I will share the link to the YouTube in here. Also, all right, yeah. Do it. What are y'all up to? Mic up. Come on in. Don't be shy.
I'd like I'd like to use mesh as more of like an organizing thing and to incorporate it with these DIY shows that I'm becoming a part of. Um, the show that I worked this past weekend was a little bit more like trying to be it's for people who are trying to like make it big rather than for like DIY shows that are just like people trying to explore doing cool, fun, weird things. Um, and like you mentioned, there's no money in any of this, and that is a struggle. And I'm like, hoping my phone, like I can pay my phone bill in time. I'm like at that kind of level right now. But in the interim, and to like upskill, I really like. I don't know. Sorry, I'm very discombobulated right now. But when I was driving, I saw the Desert Institute mesh repeater, and they had just a link, like a QR, like a link that could be a QR code for the Discord. And I think it would be really sick to start using Mesh to advertise for shows and to coordinate shows and to use that as a proof of concept for people in my community and like the surrounding area, um, to connect, and to do it more offline. um, I am trying. We're doing like a book fair situation, like punk show, and I was going to advertise it on Freakstein, and then try to drop that link in like the mesh area, and like I have a couple of radios. I was going to give a couple out to people who I feel are better organizers or like more active in the like music playing of the punk community. But anyway, that's kind of my loose what I'm working on whilst being overwhelmed by thinking of the wet labs.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, all right. So, and with all the wet lab of it all, for those of you just joining on Multiverse Campus and on YouTube and the rest of the world, we're talking. We ended job stand up today on this like dystopian note from the edge, which is like sharing kind of what's happening with the world. Stuff that you would like post to your LinkedIn to get some uh, professional cyber clout. And there are data centers that are specializing in organoids. So, is that what you were talking about with wet labs? Yeah. So, all right. Not something else. Yes, data centers that are specializing in brain organoids. So, what does that mean? They have organic material, and they're making brains. It's the beginning of of some. I don't even. I don't, is it even Terminator? I feel like Terminator was more like cyborgs than that. Is it? It's almost like Brave New Worldy. Uh, it's we're like post 1984 at this point. Like it's like we're on yeah. I don't know. I don't know what yeah. It's important in these learn to code classes that we're like processing what's happening as it's happening. The past weeks I've been doing like presentations on Mondays about all the horrible things that are happening in the world, and I'm like, that's just not a great way to start off the week. So this mesh-tastic or this mesh idea for posting shows is great. QR codes, anything that kind of encourages people to get off the internet. Um, I love like tech that is like communal in almost like a anti-tech way. Like go to the show, you know. And I hear those fears there, Misha, because I live those fears. Uh, working alongside the DIY community, the punk community, and doing something highly technical can like um, kind of put you in this realm of uh, there's not much money in the space. We are all broke artists to a degree, and so how do you vouch for yourself? How do you charge for consultations or create a career out of doing what you love? Now I'm actually asking these questions because I don't know how to do it. I've never figured it out. Uh, how do you do it though? Seriously, because it's like, anyways, we're in a weird world. It's you got three job choices right now, which are building the war machine directly, by working on weapons manufacturing, building AI that is used in the war machine, so building the war machine indirectly, or building mechanisms that further create a disparity in class structures. So that's it. That's no, I'm just kidding. That's very very depressing. There's other jobs out there. I swear. The tip for doing something if you're like part of a community of people that are largely broke is to build those networks and to rely on people that you're close to, that like reaching out to your network, right? The project that we're going to work on today kind of moves away from like us just voting on what we're going to build during the week. We may or may not have like a group project this week. We might just do a bunch of little projects throughout the week. I'm still kind of deciding, but I wanted to revisit an email newsletter automation system because I feel like we're all at that point again where this could be something that's really useful. But we had Misha share. Is there anybody else in on campus that is working on a personal project, has sort of like a tech themed story, current event update that they want to share with the class? Feel free. All right, we got some text in the YouTube box. Somebody saying Amazon blocks AI from helping you with grocery shopping. So that's smiley face with a tear. Uh, uh, What do you mean Amazon blocks you from it? How so? Claude says he can't visit Amazon stores to check prices for me anymore. Robot.txt stops him and other bots. All right, so robot.txt file, this is a file that sites put kind of, it's like a form of like AI SEO guardrail situation. Um, try using browser use or something like Playwright MCP to allow the model to control your screen and browse that way. I'm pretty sure it'll change the user agent. Plus, I save money going between stores and just buying the lower price. Sure, they don't want that either. They want their algo to trick you working. Thanks for the tip. Yeah, that's what we're using AI for is is our groceries. But it makes sense, you know. It also makes sense why Amazon would block you from doing something like that. And you know, hearing like not trying to just like preach uh, fire and brimstone about the AI oligarchs, like, but really when you know, when we talk about like worrying about the AI overlords, we're not talking about like agents themselves, the actual AI itself. We're talking about Sam Altman, you know, like um, these are like men in power that literally want to sell your brain back to you. If they could figure out a way to make you pay a subscription to your own brain, they would, right? And that's why something like a wet lab, a wet data center, a brain organoid data center should kind of invoke that like primal fear in people, uh, because it's yeah, it's anyways. So what they're talking about in the text box right now is using AI. The solution to use like Playwright or like a Selenium browser, basically having your model traverse the page for you. Um, yeah. Anyways, there's solutions to that. You know, equal and opposite forces. Equal and opposite forces. So as they're building out wet labs, what's like the positive version of the organoid, right? You know, without like getting too scared about this sort of like Lich King, forever oligarchy, fountain of youth, using these organoids to sort of for cellular regrowth, or I think James was bringing it up, like, you know, if your eyesight, if you lose your eyesight late in life or hearing, you know, um, anyways, there's equal and opposite goods to anything. Um, Intelligence about as a billable utility. Yeah, that's what I was kind of pointing towards. What is that, Sam Altman? Sam Altman, intelligence as a utility. Um, all right, buy it from us on a meter. All right, we'll see if this loads.
And I think the business of every other model provider is going to look like selling tokens. You know, they may come from bigger or smaller models, which makes them more or less expensive. They may use more or less reasoning, which also makes them more or less expensive. They may be running all the time in the background trying to help you out. They may run only when you need them if you want to pay less. They may work super hard, you know, spend tens of millions, hundreds of millions, someday billions of dollars on a single problem that's really valuable. But we see a future where intelligence is a utility like electricity or water, and people buy it from us on a meter and use it for whatever they want to use it for. The demand that we see for that seems like it's going to continue to just go like this.
God, I fucking hate him. Sorry. Well, all right.
Fundamentally, our business.
Clip that out of YouTube. Clip that out. Can we clip that out, please? But yeah, so intelligence on a meter, and you could see the price of this is just gonna go like this on a straight line. God, he's just such an unlikable person. Um, Intelligence on a meter? Oh yeah, that's what we need. Another like resource that we're billed for on on a monthly basis. Like so I don't know. How do we bolster ourselves to the sort of decay of logic in the space of self development. Uh, and it's not just like personal optimization, right? We get caught up in this place of like, how do I make myself more hireable? How do I like gain how do I get gainful employment in when the economy is crashing or amidst all this dystopian stuff? Um, it's not going up against that sort of like whatever neuroses Sam Altman has, you know. There is something to be said about not immersing ourselves too much in the sort of pitfalls of all the horrible things that are happening in the world. Because those can kind of dissuade us and make it so we don't want to do anything with the day, right? Um, so I was thinking for today, I've built this project before with the Learn to Code class. I don't know if any of the current students that are here were present for it. But essentially, what we're gonna build today is a email automation, uh, an email automation sort of client, I guess, something that we'll set up a GitHub repo for, and then you could put your own credentials in and create an email list of a solid network. I think Google cuts off at 100 emails, um, and you could shoot out sort of your own spam slot. Uh, so we're not just like filling out, LinkedIn quick applies and getting lost in the minutia of what it means to get to seek employment in sort of the state of the world as it is. You could also use the newsletter as a newsletter, like it's an email automation. It could be, we do our notes from the edge during the job stand up class. You could make it like, something cool that you learned. It doesn't need to be like, hey, remember me? I'm broke. Hire me, please. It could be like, oh, I just read the coolest thing about, like somebody breaking into a wet lab and freeing all the brain organoids. I don't know. Like what would that look like? Or like what do the brain organoids actually want to do? This is some Descartes level dystopian uh, brain in a vat. Anyways, so we start with the blank canvas of a Claude input Claude code on VS Code. Is there anything people particularly want from this email automation newsletter thing? Because we can ask it to do that. Um, and feel free to post in the chat or post to the live stream. Or mic up if you have any specific desires. All right, I see the dots. Dot 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 dot. We're writing. Bop 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 bop. All right.
Is this the sort of thing where we could like fill out a worksheet every week of like 3 podcast episodes that we listened to that we liked, or like a song, or um, like a couple of news articles, and then we could populate links and have a like a concise summary of these things.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, sky's the limit. Yeah, I think that'd be to have some sort of form where you could input what goes into to the newsletter itself, and maybe like a couple different templates for a newsletter. So one could be like a like hire me now or I die newsletter. One could be like this is what I'm up to newsletter. One could be like I am a I'm a social media thought leader, influencer. Here's what I posted this week. Um, One could be more of a devlog, right? These are great ideas. Uh, all right, so try making something that auto texts you. This would be a great place to put it. I'm here for learning. Auto text you. All right, so Astro Doctor Mister 4482. What do you mean by something that auto texts you this? What about something that grabs 10 random photos from the last week and asks you to journal about them, then sends out the email to people you care about so they are kept in the loop? 10 random photos. So you're giving this access to your photo library, your phone. Maybe a setup to email friends and family with a button if so. Oh, no. All right. That's took a darker turn. You're like what is that, the like if you receive this text I'm in trouble sort of application. I mean, I guess you could use the newsletter for that. Maybe we'll set up a couple different templates. One of them being if you're reading this, I am not I'm not safe. Like, yeah, you like set the thing up before you go on a backpacking trip or a camping trip, right? Uh, we're not going to mention specific use cases, but backpacking is one of them, right? Yeah, and risky photos. That's the thing. It's like I wouldn't want to give an application like direct access to just any photos I was taking, and then a list of 100 emails of people I know. Uh, but I like the idea, and I think there's ways to do it that aren't so. That yeah. Anyways, so let's start. I think I'm gonna stick with the sort of like newsletter application. These are all good ideas, and we'll work them into it, kind of. Good morning, Claude. Today I want to build a simple email newsletter automation application, web app that can be easily modified using the GitHub repo. I want it to contain instructions for how to get it to work with Gmail and then other popular mailing services. But I want it to be free. And what else? Oh, I want to be able to set up different templates that I can input information into. So there should be like a regular newsletter template. There should be a I'm looking for work template. There should be more of a social media influencer. Here's what I posted last week. Here's my new videos template. And there should be a template that's like, in case I go on a backpacking trip and I don't come back from it, that it sends out to people on a timer so that they know that I'm lost template. Um, yeah. So, all right, so such a so yeah, and we can keep putting stuff into Claude as we think about it. No feeding photos to models. Keep it local. Only photos that you approve and subsequently journal about. But I get what you mean. No accidental photo sharing. I don't know. Yeah, just whatever. I mean, Google. Like if you have an iPhone and you're connected to the cloud, like but yeah, the template should work. It's gonna walk us through setting up. It looks like it's setting up this like SMTP env file, right? It's gonna give us a .env example. So uh, when we learn to code, we never post our environment variables to GitHub, right? Um, Sets us up with a git ignore. Um, and it's building. It's building. Tie it into image instead of Google Photos / Apple Photos. Image. Image. What's image? Let's look up image. Image. Self-hosted photo and video management solution. Image helps you browse, search, and organize your photos with ease. By image. Oh, it's just a photo server. So it looks like it's at cost. All right. Well, I'm not gonna pay for an image server, but what is image? High performance self-hosted open source photo and video backup solution. All right, so the idea is kind of like what is it, Plexamp or uh, any of these like self-hosted solutions that are becoming more popular as more and more of our data is being controlled by the tech oligarchs. So you would have to host this actively somewhere, whether that is from your computer or old phone, a backup server that is always on, a Raspberry Pi. Um, yeah, I think this could be a solid solution. You could also just host a server somewhere, but you can get it for free and run it in Docker. Wonderful. There you go. Uh, cool. So, what are we making now? We're making this dashboard. Uh, wonder what sort of build it went with. It looks like it's using a Python mailer. It's building a Flask application. Um, that's just what it chose to do. Are we familiar with Flask in the class? Flask in the class? It's National Panda Day. So Flask is like a Python framework. Flask. Popular, lightweight Python micro web framework used for building web applications and APIs. This person says you can always get a last gen workstation that would run Docker containers without much of a sweat. Wonderful. Yeah, so Flask is going to be running our little repo, and I want it to be easy for you to kind of get in there, download the repo, compile it, input your information, So part of that, I think, would be uh, I need there to be instructions for users on how to set up the mail servers for themselves. So imagine people are um, cloning the GitHub repo, and it has the sort of example environment variable files, but there should be pages that sort of walk them by step, um, and affirm or confirm that they're getting through the steps of setting it up. What so Gmail, I think
Job is done.
most people use Gmail, but what mail services would you want this to work for? Outside of Gmail, what are we using? Are we using Proton? They recently had or is it Proton? Uh, yeah, Microsoft, Proton, Zoho, iCloud, Tuta. All right. Zoho. All right. So yeah, this setup wizard, as I imagine, is going to be sort of a big feature build. We can see it's working on this base.html. What does the file structure look like? Um, we're gonna pop this into its own window. All right, so file structure, yeah, it's a basic Flask application. It's set up. This Pi cache file is like it's kind of some necessary like uh, not garbage but cache files for the Flask application, and the templates is where we see um, a lot of the sort of view code, what we're going to be like seeing when we run this application. So let's turn on word wrap. All right, setting up some tables. So base.html in a Flask application, it kind of acts like your main styling file. So this is where uh, you know in this it's kind of coding the CSS inline in this style tags, but you could also have a base CSS file. It didn't do that though. So uh, when you have CSS in line like this, it's okay. It just like takes up space in a file. Anyways, and then it sets up the nav bar in this base.html file. So we have the newsletter go, dashboard, contacts, templates, safety switch, history, setup. I don't know what any of these things are. Contacts. Let's look at it. And let's try to think about what this does. All right, so this seems like where you import your newsletter. It will take it as a CSV. That makes sense. You could have different groups for contents for contacts. What's dead man? Oh, Dead Man Switch. That's what it's called. Dead Man Switch is the name for what you wanted to build. Whoever in the YouTube chat brought that up. Um, so if you are going backpacking or on a solo trip, right? This is the use case for it. And let the record show, YouTube, this is for backpacking trips only, right? Um, we set this up so that if we don't check in within a set time, an emergency email gets sent to your contacts immediately, right? Cool. So it's setting up the view for whether or not this is the active template. Um, Pretty straightforward. We see a lot of the HTML form logic here. Does inline CSS take precedence over imported CSS from a dedicated file? No, it doesn't. It depends on how the page is rendered, right? Inline CSS taking precedence over imported CSS. What do they mean by that? We can kind of test this out on a page. Once I'm gonna do it once Claude is finished building this out for us. Um, but sometimes inline CSS takes precedence over styles imported from an external file. But it really depends on what's being rendered when. You could have JavaScript, you could have React, you could have Python that overrides that inline CSS, right? If it were just base HTML, a CSS file, and no JavaScript that got in the way of what's rendering in the DOM when, then yes, inline CSS takes precedence over external CSS in that situation. But because this is a Flask application, we could have Python code that generates different CSS. We could have, so that would be, the external file, and then it would call from the base HTML. But precedents generally with CSS are you're going to have your browser default styles, and then your external CSS files, and then your internal CSS files, and then inline styles. And the hack that
Job is done.
will get anything showing if you want it to is exclamation point important. If you throw that before the semicolon, it will render, right? But if you do that enough times in your application, there could be CSS that multiple CSSs that have this important tag on it. Anyways, that's a good question, a fun question. As somebody who spends the most time centering divs and working with CSS and design, I love that question because it's definitely a place that we can get lost. All right, so Claude, did he say job's done or that he has a question? All right, cool. And then because this is a Flask application, I imagine we say python app.py, python 3 app.py. No module. All right. I might have to ask Claude. I'm getting some weird errors on Python 3 app.py. What do I need to pip install? It's what is the order of operations for getting this program running? Yeah, be careful with exclamation important.
Job is done.
I'm getting some weird errors when I try to run it with Python. Do I need to run a pip install? What's the order of operation? Oh, it's opening in a different. Bub, 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 bub. Oh, yeah, it's gonna make us run this pip install. So, pip install requirements text. What this does is, so we have this requirements.txt file. So
Job is done.
Claude downloaded or Claude is using some packages. There's directives for packages and frameworks within the code itself that the file system on my computer doesn't have access to. So I need to run a pip install on these on Flask AP scheduler, and python.env. And then when I run python 3 app.py, no module named Flask AP scheduler. Huh. So we can just copy paste that, give that to Claude. Beep, 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 beep.
Job is done.
Huh. I might need to use a virtual environment, but we'll test this. Yeah, it's weird. Oh, I guess that worked. Do you gonna use AI to build AI? No. I don't know what that means. Cool. So now we got our like little newsletter application. Um, all right, virtual environments. Why do we use virtual environments for Python Flask projects? Cool. I'm gonna pull up this. Um, oh, no, I do not want that. Oh my God, I hate how Google just started doing this annoying split view thing, and it's gross. Um, so thanks. So what are we gonna learn and some prerequisites, please? We're just building a newsletter automation application. So yeah, it's that's what we're building today. We're shipping together, and we're learning how to do it, and we're learning about virtual environments, right? So this person says, why should I use the VNV when using Flask framework? Flask framework. Why should I use a virtual environment? Nowadays, I've studied Flask web framework for developing apps, and I use Python for programming language. I searched how to use Flask, and the most people say that when I use Flask, I should activate virtual environment, so called VNV. I got the curiosity, blah, blah, blah. Wow, this is worded weird. Makes me feel kind of like I'm having a stroke. This person says, use Conda. That's not really an answer. You don't have to use a virtual environment at all. But what is a virtual environment? A virtual environment is a Python environment such that the Python interpreter, libraries, and scripts installed to it are isolated from those installed in other virtual environments. And by default, any libraries installed in a system Python, one which is installed as part of your operating system. So you're essentially making like virtual environment, you're making another environment for the Flask application to run. This comes in handy when you're having like some weird overlapping errors from libraries not installing correctly. So the reason it was the fix to get our project running is because we were getting all of these like pip install errors, right? Um, and it's a pretty cool like thing that Python does, just like allowing you access to kind of spin up virtual environments when you're coding. Um, and there's like a bunch of different use cases for it. But one of them is when you have a development server and for whatever reason your requirements.txt isn't installing. So let's kind of look at this application that we just built and see what it does. So welcome to Newsletter Go. Let's get your email set up. This wizard will walk you through connecting your email account so you can start sending newsletters. Cool, let's get started. Provider. All right, this is nice. So it shows us choosing our email provider. It gives you the limits on these. So Gmail 500 outsends a day, Outlook, Yahoo, Zoho, Proton, Tuta. Tuta has no SMTP. So that's something that we'll have to look into. What is SMTP? So SMTP, simple mail transfer protocol, standard protocol for sending emails across the internet. What does it mean? What does it mean when an email provider doesn't have SMTP? When an email provider doesn't have SMTP, it means you cannot use traditional email clients or external applications to send emails through their service. All right, so I wonder what the fix for that is. Let's choose Tuta to see, or is it Tata? To see what the setup guide pulls up for us, because I'm actually interested. They might have IMAP or active sync. Oh, yeah, sure. All right, so it looks like you enter your email, you enter your password or app password, your display name. All right, cool. All right, so let's look at this. Does not support standard SMTP. Tuta uses its own proprietary encryption system and does not offer SMTP access, not even with a paid plan. This means you cannot directly use Tuta as the sending server for this app. So you have options here. Use a different provider, but that's not, just don't use it. Is one of the options. Thanks, Claude. Option B is using their desktop client and a relay. You need to set up an SMTP relay service. So you'd set up like Mailgun or Brevo. That's what this is saying. And then you verify your Tuta address. The emails go through the relay but appear to come from your Tuta address. Oh, all right. Monitor the Tuta desktop client API. So maybe they will. So another option is just wait for them to build it for you. That's so unhelpful. But sometimes I would say this desktop client and relay is probably your best option with some access to Mailgun, right? Bye Tuta, LOL. Yeah, the YouTube. All right, so Gmail. Most people have Gmail. Yeah, I don't want to kind of like leave you hanging on if you're using Tuta, but that is something where it's like we're starting to think about like, okay, we want to send out newsletters. is a newsletter that's coming from a email client that doesn't support SMTP even gonna make it to people's inboxes, right? Um, there it's the entire world of mail services is a it's an appendage of the oligopoly, right? Um, if you want to stay safe and still send out a newsletter, just make spin up a quick Gmail account. You know, I don't see harm in that. Save the Gmail account, and you can even within your newsletter have your tuta email or whatever linked so that people will send it. This person says even if you use a relay, tuta would have to have those providers in their SPF record, so you'd probably not get mail into an inbox. That's true. It probably in that situation it I mean, like, yeah, so yeah, SPF record. That's a good note to what is an SPF record. So SPF is a sender policy framework. So it's like it's kind of like yeah, it's like DNS for email. DNS text records that list authorized IP addresses and servers that are allowed to send email from a specific domain. Um, So this is why the monopoly exists with these mail servers. And I've said it before here, and I will say it again, that it was easier to mass email in 2005 than it is now. Like it just was, you know. Uh, Now it's a service, right? Now it's a subscription. Now, if you send out a mass email, it will go to people's spam folders. You have to warm up emails, right? Um, there was way less support on how to send out a newsletter in 2005, um, but it was easier, and your mail would get into people's inboxes, right? I know this because yeah, 2005 you could find open relays just on the internet. It was the Wild West. Yes, yes. Like it was amazing. I know this because I used to run a Harry Potter role playing forum, and we had to email our hundreds of users, and it was uh, it was a nightmare to set up as a 12-year-old, but I did it, and now in my 30s, it's still a nightmare. And it's even more of a nightmare, right? So that's why we get Claude to help walk us through it. So why can't I just use my regular Gmail password? So Google blocks less secure logins. You'll need to create a special app password that's just for your newsletter app. So it's walking us through these steps of setting up a new app password. So I'm gonna do this on another screen, but I'll get all the right credentials to throw in. So make sure two-step verification is on. All right, we will turn on two-step verification. Um, I'll do an authenticator. So, question for the class: have y'all ever set up a SMTP server or anything with anything to do with email? Because it sounds like some of you in the YouTube, this is something that you've had experience with. All right, so 158580. All righty. So two-step verifications on. Go to the app's password page. Again, I'm doing this off screen just for, um, and so this is what it will look like. It says, you don't have any app passwords. To create a new app specific password, type a name for it below. So we'll call this Neek Mailer. Oh, fuck. Anyways, that's the password for it if you saw it. Uh, I'm gonna make another one. All right, so we got the password. And then I'm gonna put this somewhere safe. And feel free to oop, all right. So there's the app's password page. Create a new app password. Copy the 16 character password. That's it for Gmail. You now have an app password. Click the next below to enter your credentials. All right. So that's all you got to do. All right. So keep that open. Setup guide. smtp.gmail.com 587. Wait, what? Sorry, I'm confused. Username, full Gmail address. Meek at the multiverse.school. Full password, app password. Um, ba 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 ba. All right, I'm gonna make another password after this class. So connect to mail server. All right, let's run the connection test. Bing, bing, bing. Oop, timed out. Something went wrong. It stalled on the test your connection. Um, what could possibly be going wrong here?
Narrator updates window. Next. Button. Taskbar pane. Jump
No,
list
I
for
don't.
scan. Exiting narrator.
I don't know what that was.
Job is done.
Use a different provider for sending. Uh, oh, it's sending from Tuta because I chose Tuta. Oops. Duh. So we got to go back, choose Gmail,
Job
and
is done.
enter the so I should have seen that here. Your email is configured correctly. Woohoo! And now we send a test email. And then we'll check our inbox. Cool. Look. Wow. Mm, mm, mm. I just sent myself a newsletter. All right, wonderful. So it's set up now. Um, we're going to post this to GitHub for yous. Uh, because it seems to be working. Um, and
Job is done.
all right, I get it. The job's done. Uh, they called this newsletter Go, which let's name it something cooler. Anybody got a better name for this? I don't like that name. What was it? Dead Man Switch? You could call it Dead Man Newsletter. Dead Man Newsletter. So send a newsletter or set up a Dead Man Switch. All right, and then we're gonna close that. Um, bop, 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 bop. Week 6. We are going to get init, get commit, or get add dot. There, get ignore in here. Cool. Get commit, first commit, get branch main, because no masters with the dead man switch. And get remote add origin and get push u origin main. All right, cool. So we should be up on GitHub if you want to compile and get this running on your machine. Sending out newsletters to all of your friends. But what else does it do? Is the real question. So we tested the email. Yes, I got it. Oh wait, it's not running anymore because I set up the Git. We gotta, because it's a Flash server, so you're gonna have to run it from your machine. Cool. So 5 templates, 0 active comment, safety switch, blah blah blah. So you can add contacts. There's different templates. A regular newsletter, a classic newsletter with a greeting, main content sections, and a sign off. I'm looking for work. Let your network know you're available. Highlight your skills and what you're looking for. Social media roundup, and then the dead man switch. New videos. Let's just is there a specific one y'all want to test out before we wrap up class today? Ba, ba, ba. No one has any preference for any of these. Looking for work sounds interesting. All right, yeah, we'll do it. All right, my name is Neek. My current status, um, broke AF. Looking for a job that will make me so much money that I will explode. Key skills and experience, coding, and chewing bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubblegum. Portfolio slash LinkedIn URL will link to my GitHub. And a personal note, I love you. So I haven't set up a contacts group yet, but let's again test the Nick at the multiverse.school. Oh, we can also preview it. Oh, I forgot to click that in the right time. Nick is looking for new opportunities. Template is not giving, but it is a newsletter that's sent out. Um, right? Yeah, that's cool. I suffice to say, this might work on some people. You know, I think in this age of like slop content and even slop self promotion, once you bring this into your onto your computer and compile it, if you want to give yourself a little bit of a challenge, go to templates and customize these templates for yourself, right? Um, as long as you keep I think it's actually template underscore detail. As long as you keep the form functionality the same, the form fields the same, I think you can change the output of the template. But we could also get Claude to do that. Claude, can you add in more customization for these templates? They look boring and they're not giving me anything to work with. And if I sent this out to people right now, they would look at it and they would think that I'm just a generic nobody with no personality. I want the user to be able to change the color scheme. I want the user to be able to change the font. I want the user to be able to add images. Come on, dude. What are you doing? You're making us all look boring. This is a newsletter. Thank you. So, um, we'll see what it does with that. But the GitHub's up, and you can get it to work for yourself with as little as a couple clicks, a Gmail account, and a couple clicks. You could get it up and running today. We tested it from a Gmail account. We learned that a Tuta account doesn't work. But if you have another one of these email providers that you want to test it out with, by all means, go for it and see if you can get it to work for you, right? Would love feedback on Gmail or on Outlook, Hotmail. How Hotmail? What? Hotmail? What is this? This 2002? Who has a Hotmail account still? Yahoo. Zoho might sound weird to some of you, but that is an application that I use. Proton, they recently had some sort of breach or something weird happen. What happened with Proton? Let's look that up. Proton controversy. Um, uh, was involved in a controversy as communication, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, does anyone know what happened with Proton? No? Can't really find anything. As we learned, Tuta might be weird. Brevo and Mailgun. Or you could set up a custom SMTP server. Which, if you want to do that, I do warn you, if you're somebody who gets migraines, this is a intense route to take. But by all means, Cool. So Claude's gonna give us a template detail page, and I will push that to the GitHub. But please, um, check out the repo that we just posted. Deadman newsletter. Feel free to fork. Feel free to make pull requests. Clone it to your computer. We're setting ourselves up so that we can. Tuesday is the best day to send out emails. So you'll be able to really quickly get yourself up and running with your newsletter. Start with 12 of your friends, move up to 100 people that you know, move up to 200 people that you know. If you want to go past 500, set up a workspace account or figure out a more robust mail campaign system. But yeah, there you go. And for those of you in YouTube land, thanks for watching. And for those of you watching the stream that are like, I got to write down Neek's application password so that I can hack the account and yeah. Oh, somebody came with the
Job
Proton.
is done.
Proton released payment information for an anonymous subscriber, which led to their identity being found. Swiss government demanded it, and they had to comply since they are a Swiss company. Proton's forced to comply with Swiss law, so they went to Swiss government to force it. Then the person's metadata for payment was exposed, not the actual message. Yeah. Anyways. Cool. Great job, class. This is a productive application. So if you're feeling like, oh, wow, that was kind of boring, make your newsletter and make it less boring than the actual news, than the actual class. But I don't know. This stuff bores me, but it's useful. It's useful. It's useful. Use it. Use it, please. All right. Thanks for watching, YouTube. And I'm going to stick around for a second for Q&A on campus.